Okay. Welcome
We're good.
everybody to this book launch for Voices of the 21st Century. Our guests of honor are Zan Johns, Laura Reagan, and Carolyn Sawyer. So happy to have you all here today. And I want to start by introducing Zan Johns. I've known Zan now for about 4 years, I think. I've lost track. First interviewed her for Poetic Forecast. I always want to say Justice, Poetic Forecast. And that's where we just started, and we've become friends ever since. She has produced beautiful books, of course, After the Rainbow, Golden Poems. And I'm very proud of this. This is our first book we worked on together. So I'm really proud of this. I'm also proud to have helped her with the What Matters journal. She did all the writing and just did the putting together part. It was a real team effort, an effort of love among many people. And then the last is Encore, which is beautiful collection of poetry. And I don't know where she's going to go from here because when you get to the top, where else do you go? Well, we have this wonderful book today that we're going to be featuring. So, and Zan, I don't even know if you need an introduction. I bet everybody in here knows you and knows your reputation. So, it's all good. So we're so happy to have you here. I'm going to turn it over to you because she's really technically the master of ceremonies. I'm just a person to put it all together. Suzanne, it's all yours.
All right. Thank you so much, Lisa. Thanks for hosting us. And thank you, everybody, from joining us from the US to the United Kingdom, friends from the UK. We've got several states represented. We are celebrating our new beautiful book. It's behind me, but I have to hold it up Voices of the 21st Century, featuring 45 amazing women from around the globe. But today is about three amazing women who live in Colorado: Laura Reagan, Carolyn Sawyer, and myself. First, let me tell you about the Women Speakers Association. Thank you, my dear sister in law, Janet Sawyer, for inviting me to join you and join the Women Speakers Association. It was founded in Canada by the CEO, Gail Watson. It serves 120 countries. There are professional women who support other women. I remember when Janet said, "You're publishing your new book. You need to join the Women Speakers Association and you need to participate in Voices of the 21st Century." I said, "Okay, Janet, I trust you. I'm going to join the Women Speakers Association, but I'm not going to speak." Famous last words, right, Janet? Anyway, this organization I joined because I knew that there were resources available to me that I would use over time. But I had no intention of doing what I'm doing today. The vision of the Women Speakers Association says, Gail Watson says she envisions a world in which women are empowered to authentically express themselves, to build a thriving, prosperous business, and feel a part of something greater. Boy, do I ever feel a part of something greater. The Voices of the 21st Century collaboration series was born out of a project. Gail Watson was helping her son, a student, I think a K through 12 student, I don't know what grade he was in, but he was doing research on women and she couldn't find stories. She was disappointed that there weren't enough stories being shared. So, what happened was she created this collaborative book as a one and done, or so she thought. I want you to know this is the seventh edition of Voices of the 21st Century. They are recruiting for next year's book, which will be the eighth edition. I am so proud to be in this book. I'm proud for so many reasons. My chapter this year is titled Touching the World Line by Line. The full title of the book is Voices of the 21st Century, Women Empowered Through Passion and Purpose. What a powerful, perfect title for me to submit a chapter to. I was commissioned to write the dedication poem as I have for the last 4 years. This is my fourth appearance in the book. And what makes me proud is not only having my poem serve as the dedication page, but the fact that I followed a North Star to this book. And I have invited this year 4 friends who are featured in the book, including the two stars sitting with me today, Carolyn and Laura. And there are 2 more co-authors that I invited who participated this year, Dr. Teresa Barnes and Glendoria Boyd. But again, today is about Colorado women. So I'm going to tell you a little about my chapter. After I read the poem, I got a little ahead of myself. Allow me to share the poem that I dedicated to the 45 women in this book and women across the world. How perfect, with this being International Women's Month, for us to kick off the celebration of the book. I'm going to share the poem titled Empowered Bells. Inspiring story after story, resounding voice after voice. The richness of our narratives reveals the courage of our choice. We treat vulnerability as an asset, a conduit of interconnection. We greet each day with confidence, hope, gratitude, and reflection. Our phenomenal, unique selves didn't fit the basic molds. We answered only to our destinies, not to what we were told. The corporate world couldn't contain us. Family dynamics have been addressed. We exposed hurt to heal the healers as we managed our own stress. Our comfort zones became uncomfortable when our purpose wasn't fed. We knew we were meant for greatness, fierce vessels, authentically led. The views in our rear view mirrors display strife laden trails. Ambition paired with valor bred success, raised our sails. Discovery was our motivation. We were brave enough to search for self. We're daring enough to grasp what we find, resilient enough to evolve in kind. Whenever fears slowed us down, the universe lifted us up, one pump in front of the other on a path paved with trust. We defied extreme odds against us with the wattage of our guiding lights. We moved with the vibration of sisterhood toward futures distinctly bright. Sometimes we hold up the sky. Other times we're just glad to be alive. After the storms, we come out dancing like a phoenix from ashes. We rise. A hand clap for each sister who got up, a fist bump for all who cheer her on. We're but a glimpse of what we once were. Our lights shine as we carry on. Because we boldly bask in purpose, triumph will always be our goal. You will remember our remarkable stories long after our empowered bells toll. That was Empowered Bells, dedicated to women all around the world.
That's right.
Woohoo, woohoo. So, in my chapter, which is titled Touching the World Line by Line, I am sharing how a private conversation that I had almost 50 years ago with God in the form of a short prayer, laid the foundation for my purpose in life, which is to touch the world line by line through creative expression. Carolyn and Laura and I decided to each share an excerpt. We're each going to share a paragraph from our chapter. You got to get the book to read the rest. And there's more, trust me. So bear with me. It was hard deciding which chapter, trust me. But I'm going to share this one. I cannot imagine my life without writing or engaging with the writing community. I start each day motivated by another opportunity to share love and light. Poetry is my happy place, my soul awakened by all of my senses to reveal how I experience the world. I am blessed to have power and control over my own life as I serve as an example for others. Especially rewarding is the emergence of new steadfast writers who have been motivated by my radiance. Two of them are sitting here today. So that's the excerpt from my chapter. And the takeaway that I want readers to have after reading my full chapter is that passion is limitless, it's timeless. It does not matter what age you are, passion doesn't go away. You have to pay attention to what sets your heart afire. And it took me 62 years to notice, to pay attention and embrace it. I hope my readers, after reading my chapter, will be motivated and inspired to listen closely to that inner voice and to feel and pay attention to what sets your heart ablaze. With that, I think I will turn it over to my fabulous co-author, another Colorado girl, Miss Laura Reagan. Let me tell you about Laura. She is a certified life coach with a practice focused on holistic self-care and wellness. Laura and I both worked together, by the way, many years at the University of Colorado in our past life. We pivoted. We are in our act, our second act. Is that what we want to call it, Laura? She has been recognized as a top 15 Denver coach in 2022 by Influence Digest. Laura will publish a new journal in just a couple weeks, less than a couple weeks, titled The ABCs of Self-Nurturing. It's a journal for self-discovery and renewal. I gotta tell you, you wanna watch for that. I've attended Laura's self-care workshops, I've read her affirmations, and she knows what she's talking about. I present to you my fabulous co-author, Laura Reagan. Thank you.
Thank you, Zan. Thank you so much for that introduction. In the Voices book, my chapter is entitled My True Identity. Now, my motivation for contributing to Voices, it stems from my own experiences and the desire to emphasize the importance of self-acceptance and discovering one's voice in a society that frequently attempts to dictate our identity and tell us who we are. Now, in my role as Zan mentioned, I'm a life coach. In my role as a life coach, I specialize in supporting women. And what I've observed is a common challenge that resonates deeply with me also personally. And that struggle is to cultivate a healthy relationship with yourself. Now, this journey towards a healthy relationship with self requires, I think, three things. It requires self-awareness, it requires self-love, and it requires self-care. But what I often find is hindered by the difficulties in embracing our self-love and practicing self-care. And I believe at the heart of these difficulties are issues related to our identity, our self-worth, feeling deserving, and finding your voice. So it's my intention with my story is to convey a message of hope and strength, illustrating that embracing your authentic self and self-love, you can overcome any obstacle and uncover your true self amidst the challenges and the complexities of life. And what I would like the readers to take away is that just like myself, they too possess the inner resilience and strength to overcome any of the challenges that might be happening in their life. And with that being said, I want to read an excerpt from my book. But before I read this excerpt from the book, I want to just kind of give you a little context of what was going on in my story at the time. What I was doing in this part of my life, I was navigating between two different family environments, okay? So on one side, my aunt and my uncle, who at that time in my life, they were my primary caregivers. I lived with them most of the time. And they decided to rename me Karen. But while my birth name is Laura, my mom used my birth name, Laura, and my grandmother and other family members used Laura. So as you can imagine, this young girl who's navigating both of these family environments that she is a part of is really being impacted by her identity and maybe even a feeling of belonging. So I'm going to read the excerpt for you now. Eventually, my mother's weekend visits turned into me staying overnight with her. And there, my family at my mother's house, they called me Laura. There was one exception, my Uncle Donald, my mother's younger brother. He called me Rochelle. I adapted and answered to Laura when I was with my mother and her family. All of this confusion and conflict occurred before I turned 5 years old. I've heard that you don't have any solid memories when you're very young. As I learned more and more about the conflict of my name, something that should be so simple, I always wondered how this little girl, so young, so innocent, and trying to navigate the complexities of the lives of the grown-ups around her, how she felt about it all. Did it matter? Did I even have a say in my own identity? So, if you want to know the rest of that story, you can get a copy of my Voices book at my website. It's laurarochellecoach.com. And again, that's laurarochellecoach.com. And now I want to introduce to you Carolyn Sawyer. She's another wonderful Colorado woman and one of the co-authors of The Voices. Carolyn Sawyer, she's a native of Colorado. She's a recent retiree, and she is the mother of 3. And as an aspiring writer and a best-selling author, Carolyn's goal is to inspire and encourage others through love, honesty, and compassion. Carolyn's book of multiple biological family discovery is currently underway. And now I want to hand the mic over to the lovely and kind Carolyn Sawyer.
Thank you. Thank you for that introduction. I appreciate that. First of all, I want to say thank you to God. And then after that, I want to say thank you to Janet and Zan for getting me involved in this book and allowing me to express myself through creative writing and sharing my story about being adopted and finding my biological family members, which to me is a miracle, a God ordained miracle. So I just want to say I'm so proud to be included in this book. And I thank you, Janet. I thank you, Zan, my family, and everyone else that's my family in this book. So, what I want to tell you about my chapter, it's called Brave Enough. It's my story about being brave and vulnerable enough to act upon the divine yearning I had to discover my biological father and ancestry. Like I said before, I'm adopted, and I didn't know who my family was, who my biological family was. There have been many times that I have been called upon to be brave, but this experience was far more meaningful and far reaching than what ordinary bravery would call for. This extraordinary search and find process helped me to complete a missing part of me. And there is no question that God had ordained this accomplishment. And I'm so very grateful and thankful. A divine meeting, if you will, to find out more about me and to find out more about my father, my mother, and where I came from. I feel my story can inspire and encourage others in whatever quest they embark upon to be brave, take a leap of faith, and to follow through and, like me, fulfill an aspiration or an answer to a prayer. I'm planning on writing my own book that will convey the stories that I have about meeting other biological family members. And I'm so proud to have them in my life. And it has just turned my world upside down in the best way possible. I want to say, be strong and of good courage. Do not be afraid or dismayed. And that's Chronicles 22:13. I'd like to read you an excerpt from my book. And like everyone else says, I'm going to read a paragraph, but you've got to buy the book to find out more. And I'm sure that you will enjoy everyone's story in this book because there are such stories of inspiration, motivation, and encouragement that you're right, Lisa. This is the best book because we're all in it. But anyway, here's my paragraph. I had requested non-identifying information about my biological parents in the late 1970s. So I had basic information about them, such as height, weight, appearance, hobbies, and who they were as individuals at the time of my birth. The morning of my discovery in July 2008, I got up feeling anxious and excited. I could not wait a moment longer to obtain the documents that for so long had held the secrets and mysteries that I longed to discover about myself. I wanted to get my hands on the records that had been sealed by a court of law up to that point. I was 55 years old when I would finally uncover everything that I needed and wanted to know about myself. That day was undeniably one of the most extraordinary days of my life. So thank you, and I hope y'all enjoy it. And I really appreciate it being included in this book. And I thank Gail Watson for including me in this book. And God bless everybody that's on this broadcast. It means a lot to us as authors. Thank you.
Thank you, Carolyn, Zan, and Laura. This has been wonderful. But this isn't over yet. I would like to open an opportunity for people that are attending here today to ask questions about maybe some of the things that they've heard or about the Women Speakers Association. So I'd like to open it up. Just feel free to open your mic and say what you'd like to say. Or if you just want to offer some words of encouragement. Carolyn?
I'll jump in and say one more thing that I forgot to share, that the book, at the end of each of the Voices book, you'll find book club questions. And that's a feature that is so engaging. And I've actually included it in some of my books. But I did want to say more about, I want to name drop. I'll share some of their stories just to pique your interest. You will see victories over workplace and home issues. You'll see victories over health challenges. You will see triumph over abuse in all forms, sexual, verbal, emotional, women overcoming things that are unspeakable. It's throughout the book. There's nothing but inspiration and strength and power in this book. So just wanted to share that.
Thank you, Zan. I like it too. People are not afraid to tell their story. It might have felt fearful to write the story, to go through that emotion, but boy, does that not reach out to other people who need to hear that story. It might make a difference in somebody else's life.
Mhm.
Yeah, I wanted to follow up on what you just got through saying, Lisa, because I don't know about you guys, but whenever I was in class, I remember being in algebra class, and wanting to ask a question, but being afraid that I wouldn't get the answer right, or just have, the bravery of being able to just ask the question. And then a few moments later, somebody asked the question, and I go, "Whew, I thought I was the only one." And as I listen to these stories, it reminds me of that because there are so many people out there, myself included, who have the opportunity of being able to, thought I was the only one. And because you've been brave enough to come out and tell your story, you are allowing someone else who normally wouldn't the platform to be able to. And that's extraordinary. And one of the reasons why this has grown is because they've witnessed, our family members have witnessed, hey, I have a story to tell too. And all of us do. And if this catches on fire, I hope that the whole world is able to see the value of every single person on the planet because we all have a story and they're all unique. Even though they follow the same thread, they're all unique. So I just wanted to go on record of congratulating all of you for the bravery that you've exhibited in coming out and telling your story, because that's what writing does. It impacts people. It lets us know that we're all human, and that, we're all in this together. So once again, congratulations. My wife, my sister, my niece, Marquita was on, there she is. And Carolyn, I'm just really blown away by how much love this has radiated, not only in our family, but for the whole world. So thanks again. I'm not going to be able to stay on. I'm going to have to get off here because I have to get on my own call. But again, well done. Well done.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you.
Janet started this.
Absolutely.
And I'm thankful for it.
I did start it. I'll take it. I'll take the credit. I was in the Voices. I joined the Voices. Now I joined the Voices or the Women's Speakers Association to be a speaker. So that's where the Women's Speakers Association. And so I was a consultant and I was getting ready to go in a different direction. And so I joined the Women's Speakers Association. And then they had this opportunity for this book. And so I said, okay, number one, you need to know I do not like to write. And I don't like to read. But I know how. I just don't like it. So all of a sudden I get this opportunity. I wrote a book called Mirror Your Vision, Become Self-Aware, Intentional, and Mindful when Leading Your Life. It's a workbook that I wrote someone saw my process that I use for myself, and they asked me to write this book, workbook. So then I got into voices, and then now I can be an author in one of the chapters. So I wrote my story around why I wrote Mirroring Your Vision. So see, now the book and the chapter is supporting your book at the same time. And so that's why I got involved in it. Well, it was so much fun. And then I shared it with Zan. And then Zan dropped out. Now, she didn't want to speak, so she didn't like that women speakers part. But I told her that she doesn't have to say a word. No, the book has never had a poet. The book never had a poet before. And so I just knew she was going to get accepted because she offered something very different. And of course, who would know that they all fell in love with her, and now she's writing the poem for the beginning of the book, and then she's got a poem in the book. So she's working as a team member with Women's Speakers Association. So she took it much further than I ever thought. I was just trying to get her to write a chapter in a book. And then now look at her. She's also bringing people, because always bring somebody with you. Always bring somebody with you. And now look at these two women that she has brought. And of course, she's brought many more than 4 women into the voices. So that's how this all got started. And I'm so proud to be here and a part and listening to all this growth. And now, as you all know, you can't even keep Zan quiet. That's something to say. Okay, so thank you so much. I'm so happy I got to come and see this, and congratulations to you ladies. And I wish you all the best with this book.
Thank you, Janet.
Wow.
The most important factor of this meeting is the first word in the book, voices. If you say nothing, you get nothing. Please continue to do what you're doing. Congratulations to all the ladies that have written in the book, and hopefully we'll hear much, much more from these ladies. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to say congratulations, I think, to everyone. I think this is the first time I've actually attended one of these launches for the Voices of the 21st Century. I'm intrigued. I think I know men have everything in terms of that, but we need to speak more. And I think this is gonna cascade to everyone. So just congratulations, and Zan is obviously amazing, and everyone else is absolutely amazing as well. And it's great to meet people and to see people, and we chat online quite a lot. So I think this is great. So congratulations.
Thank you, Safraz. Are you going to start a men's speakers association?
I'd love to, but this it'd be massive. It's a big undertaking. Maybe when I retire, I'm not there yet. It's a retirement project.
There you go.
I just want to say thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Zan, for allowing Laura and I to expose ourselves and expose our stories. Thank you so much, ladies. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'd like to follow up with Carolyn and say that too to Lisa. And Zan is really the reason why I'm here today, because she was very instrumental in me getting into Women's Speakers Association about 3 or 4 years ago. And finally, I joined the Voices for this year with her encouragement. But I'd be remiss if I didn't say one thing, and it's a little offside. My friend here, Karen McNeil, she's been my friend for over 50 years, and she's taken the day out of her birthday. Today is her birthday. And she's online with us today, and I want just to wish her a very happy birthday. Happy birthday, Karen.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Awesome.
Thank you. And I want to say, and I was hoping she would say something to you, Zan, because there is a connection here. Zan, you look so much like my sister.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, you'll have to share a picture.
I will. And I was actually looking it up while you were talking.
Oh, that's funny.
And the connection between you and Laura, there is something there.
Oh, definitely.
There's something there. And the fact that my name is Karen.
I have a sister named Karen. And Laura used to be a Karen.
Right. And she didn't share that story with me. We've known
Wow.
her since we were 10.
Wow.
And she didn't share that story with me about her being named Karen until years later. And my name was originally not supposed to be Karen. It was supposed to be Alexandria after my father. And my sister, who you look like, was the one who named me Karen.
Wow. That's so special.
Yes. So when she told me that you were the one, because when I read the book and I saw your picture, I cried because my sister died in 2019. And I told her, I said, who is that lady? I
Oh,
said, she looks like Cheryl. And then she told me that you were the one that got her into this. And I said, there's a connection there. There's a connection.
I'm
So,
sorry about your sister Karen. I have to tell you, I also have a sister named Cheryl.
I mean,
I'm getting goosebumps.
everything. You look exactly like her.
Wow.
Oh, so I'm
Thanks
sorry,
for joining us.
I had to say that.
Thank you. Wow.
Okay.
Thank you again, Lisa. This has been a joy. And my heart is so full because it excites me to see Laura and Carolyn just shining. I'm so happy for both of you. And I want our listeners to know that the three of us are planning a book signing event, an in-person event for May in Denver. We're working on the venue. We've got a date. I'll share it later. We will do a press release later when we nail everything down, but I can't wait to stand in the same room with these amazing ladies with our books, with our custom covers, and engage with our Denver community. How fabulous is that?
Somebody needs to get a screenshot of that.
Oh, screenshot, who can do it?
Screenshot. I'll do it. 1 second. Okay, I got it.
You got it?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Pratiba, for Safraz, Joni, I'm looking forward to your book. Ooh, I get goosebumps.
Thank you.
Pratiba has a book coming. Safraz has a book coming. You get a book, you get a book. But don't forget about our book.
Well, I think on that note, I'm going to say thank you all for coming out today and good luck with your book. I think it's going to keep going wonderful. And I'm looking forward to the other books I'm hearing that are coming out as well. So thank you all so much. You have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
Everyone.